Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to Soul Blossoms London. My name is Heena Udhwani. I am an optometrist, and I am coming to you from, usually I come to you from London, United Kingdom, but right now I am in the United States visiting my parents. So today's intro session is about transforming anger. Now, anger is one of those emotions that actually have many different names, many different faces, but it is possibly one of the most destructive emotions that we can feel, not just if you're a spiritual person or a seeker, but even if you're just an everyday person who thinks that stress is normal, road rage, things like getting angry, irritated, frustrated, that we have actually really normalized in our Western society. But through my research and through my searching of how do I transform my own anger, my impatience, not being patient enough, because we now live in a society where everything is almost instant food, instant gratification. We can go online and buy something and get it the next day. So we're really been trained to want things really, really quickly. Even our Western medical system, we are trained to give very strong medications in a quick way to get the quickest results, or doing surgery, whichever is the fastest way that we can get the results that we're looking for, because we've been entrained to have things come to us almost immediately, which is quite different if we just look about 10 or 20 years ago, where people had to take time. We took time to cut our vegetables, we took time to do almost everything, sew our clothes. And so we were a lot more patient just a few years ago. Now, once again, in this world where we are, everything is coming to us so quickly, instantly, that our patience naturally has decreased. Even to communicate with certain people, we can, or actually anyone, except maybe the president or a leader of a huge country or something, we can instantly get in touch with anyone and speak to them. Whereas just 20, 30 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, we had to call on the telephone, and if they weren't home, we had to be patient. We had answering machines, and even 20, 30 years before that, we couldn't communicate as quickly. We had to write letters, or we had to wire them a message. So as humanity's evolving, everything around us is being structured so we get immediate results, immediate responses, and that has decreased our threshold for patience. And the side effect of all these conveniences is that our impatience has increased, which manifests in anger. So I thank you, everybody who joined after I already started. We're recording. So if anyone has any questions, you can put it in the chat. But I'm just going to go deeply into the aspect of really what is anger. I already briefly said that really the environment, the atmosphere we live in now is really structured. So our patience decreases, our impatience or anger increases. So it's one of those emotions in a general collective consciousness of humanity that has really gotten imbalanced. So usually in ourselves, in our bodies, we need balance physically, but also emotionally, mentally, and in the collective consciousness, we also need to have that balancing emotion. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll be checking on it periodically. And so let's go ahead and dive deep into really what is anger? How is it manifesting in our lives? Do we call it by a different name? Is it something that slowly sneaks up on us? Is it already occurring in our bodies or in our emotions or in our thoughts running without us even noticing it? And that's why it is one of the more destructive emotions, because it will lay just under the surface in the subconscious, before it gets enough momentum, and then we see a manifestation. So let's share my screen. And again, this is a safe space. So there's not going to be any judgment or anything like that. So um, it's basically that we say, okay, I feel I have an issue in this area and I would like to, obviously, I would like to transform it. So title here, Conquer Anger Before It Conquers You, Transforming Anger. Now, it's an interesting title because we have to conquer anger because it really can take over our body, the words that we end up saying. It can really take over our thinking, our mental capacity, and it can really, really eventually even wear on our bodies where physical manifestations of disease can manifest. That's why it's very important to make sure that we are controlling and balancing out when we feel this emotion. Now, according to traditional Chinese medicine, healing and preventing anger is based in the wood element, which is part of the five element theory. So, the wood element, right here's the middle, and basically, on the laser pointer. So this is the wood element, and the associations of the wood element, the authority organ is the liver, the yang organ is the gallbladder, sense organ is the eyes, body tissues, the tendons and nails, the imbalanced emotion is anger, and the body fluid is tears, which makes sense because the sense organ is eyes. Now, all of these elements, if one is out of balance, it can actually affect the other ones. So if you have a lot of anger, you may start to see the manifestations in any of these, in the tears, the eyes, the liver, the gallbladder, in your tendons and nails. And you can do a really quick check and just take a look at your nails and see if you notice, are they brittle? Are they healthy? Do you notice any cracks? Do they not grow? These are all clues to let us know, okay, how much anger is really in our subconscious or in our information level. Everything our body tells us, it tells us in different ways, but the message will be there. And if we see a small symptom, it can potentially get to a bigger symptom until we actually really address the root cause. So, just for some information, what are the signs of some physical manifestations of unbalanced anger associated with the authority organ of the liver? Now, traditional Chinese medicine, according to that chart, also had said the nails as long as the eyes. So when we have jaundice, it's a yellowing of our skin, but we will also see some effects in our eyes. We will see it in our excretion system, in our urination or our feces. We'll see changes in that because it's associated with the bile duct, which is by the liver, the digestive difficulties, especially with fats. So this in itself also is not necessarily the digestive system. You might not associate it with the liver, but it has the effects. We can see a sign in our digestion as well. And then just a couple of other, the weight loss, weight loss or muscle loss, musty breath, brain impairment, and even skin. So this is what the Cleveland Clinic, these are some of the symptoms that are associated with issues with the liver. So it can really affect any part of our body. We can even see it in the eyes, which I, as an eye doctor, I do see it in manifestation of the eyes, cholesterol, fat plaques. So everything is really, really connected. So even though it will have the liver here, bladder, eyes, nails, tendons, tears, as you can see in Western medicine, it affects even more physical aspects, physical organs than what we even think. And this again would be a late stage. Now, As far as the anger, which has the emotional mental conditions, in Western medicine right now, anger isn't considered a disorder in of itself, but anger is a known symptom of several mental health conditions. So if you notice any of these symptoms, as in what we have listed here, if you're tense, nervous, or unable to relax, if you feel guilty, if you feel resentful towards other people or situations, if you're easily irritated, overwhelmed, feel like you can't control yourself, and feel like a red mist is coming over you or you're seeing red, if you feel humiliated, some of these are the associated symptoms of anger. Now, some of these are very obvious, like easily irritated, resentful, unable to relax, can't control yourself, seeing red. Some of these are obvious symptoms. Some of them are less obvious and they manifest in our emotional bodies as guilt, overwhelmment, tension, or humiliation. Anger is also one of those aspects that's connected to our ego. So sometimes we do like to have things in their separate little buckets and consider them separate. But the truth is, everything is connected. Just like we are two parts of our parents, we have both their genes and we're our own person, but we're still connected to our parents, to our grandparents, and even further on, even if we've never met them. So the connections are really vast and they're really intricate. So one person cannot always assume, well, I don't get irritated, I don't get angry, I don't get frustrated, so I don't have any anger. It can manifest in sneaky ways, just like our ego. So the effects of anger on our body. Psychosomatic is a term that doctors use that show the effect of emotions on our physical body. So here are some of the signs that you are angry, even if you don't feel it in the typical sense. So you'll feel an uncomfortable or churning feel in your stomach. You could, a tightness in your chest, increased and rapid heartbeat, your legs go weak, tense muscles, you feel hot, you have an urge to go to the toilet, or sweating or sweaty palms. Now, again, this is something which is very individual. So not every single time you will feel your legs go weak or an increased rapid heartbeat. It would depend on the grade of that uncomfortable feeling that you are experiencing. Naoki, I will explain how guilt is related to anger in just a little bit. Okay. So, so again, these are all typically building information one on top of another, and what we tend to manifest or experience would be our general tendencies of what information is actually in our triggers. So anger has a cycle. It has 5 steps generally, where the first one is a trigger. So something triggers you to feel that emotion. It comes to escalation, where you're gathering more of that information to your field, when it eventually comes up to crisis, which means, okay, you're hot, you're feeling sweaty, your palms are sweaty, you feel the blood rushing, you see red, you feel it in your physical body. And then over time, you have a recovery phase, and then some people get depressed. Because if that crisis mode was very explosive, you expended a lot of energy in that explosion. And that's why once you recover, you are actually depressed. You have less energy because you just spent a lot of energy in that feeling, that anger, exploding verbally, whatever you did in that moment. So it expends a lot of energy. You'll also feel the depression because, in spiritual terms, you have decreased your vibration. Depression is a lower frequency and vibration than anger. And almost immediately, After the recovery phase, which means you catch yourself, you realize what you've done. And sometimes, even if it's not too explosive, some people are very hard on themselves and they will get depressed, which means they go even lower. So then there's another recovery stage because now it's even harder to, again, increase your vibration and frequency to get back to your normal state of equilibrium. But when we're on this path of increasing our frequency and vibration, our consciousness, we want to keep our vibration very, very high. We do not want to dip too low. So the programs that right now exist for this harmful emotion basically work on trying to stop it between the trigger and escalation. So if you notice the trigger, they try to make it about this step, definitely this step. But this is where really the information we have right now available to us tries to stop it at this step. So if you notice your body getting hot, you notice your blood rushing, you notice you're feeling more uncomfortable, more tense, they will teach you breathing exercises, taking a pause if you can, which is not always easy, it takes practice, but doing physical stuff to help self-regulate your emotions. And that's really good. If you can catch yourself at that point, that's amazing. At this point right here, that's amazing to stop this whole cycle from getting worse. Depending on what step you are at, there will be different things. But once you get to the crisis part, it's already, the momentum is very high. So it takes a lot more energy to bring it back down. So what we teach as a Tao calligraphy practitioner is the trigger stage, actually even before the trigger stage. The trigger stage is essentially the information we contain is what really triggers us. It's not the external environment, not the words, not the people, and the information is what we call Shen. So the people could be saying whatever. They could be, if you do not have that information to get angry, people could be calling you names. People could be doing things that you consider unjust or not fair. People could try to touch your buttons, to push your buttons. But because you've already transformed the information stage, they could poke and prod and push you all they want. But because you've transformed it, there's nothing for them to poke, prod, and make it worse. So we work on the information stage where ideally there are no triggers. Sometimes we will get a trigger because we still have the information. There's a lot of information to transform, to convert. So then we also teach you this. So this is where we combine the self-regulating mechanisms, is in taking a pause, having a moment to just reflect before you open your mouth and say any hurt or harmful words. It's taking deep breaths to your lower abdomen. So we're combining both, but this is the ideal where we transform the information, where one day that trigger won't even affect you anymore. Okay. So the universal law of Shen, Qi, and Jing. So once again, like I said before, it's the information of triggers, and we will have different triggers at different times. So it's not that it'll just be that one trigger. It could be different triggers. One time it could be someone not washing the dishes. It could be someone saying something. It could be seeing a pile full of dishes in the sink. So the triggers are different. So it's not that we will just take care of one and then nothing else will ever trigger us again. It really depends on our personal warehouse of information. So the Shen is the soul information heart. So that's where the emotions, fear, frustration, pain, that's where those information of the emotions are, which is the heart level, the mind level. So we have the information, the soul, emotions, heart, mind level, the mental thoughts based on those emotions. So as we know in the law of Shenqi and Jing, each of them builds on each other. First is the information, then we feel it in our heart. We receive that information in our heart. Our mind processes it, where our mind will then send us thoughts of, this is not fair, this is not right. I've done this before. How many times do I have to say this? All those thoughts. And then the chi, which is the energy. So the signs of anger that we discussed, like, for example, you'll feel the blood rushing in your body, the sweaty palms, the hormones are released, the flushed face, to the jing, which is the physical signs, which I just mentioned, plus the manifestation of a disease, if the information gets high enough. Another manifestation on the jing level could be verbal arguments, fighting, hitting, harming, things like that. And I know most of us probably, hopefully, have at least this bit, the crisis stage. Hopefully by now it's not manifesting in that. But we could still have physical signs, because when we sometimes don't express ourselves, potentially we could be storing the anger, or whatever name you want to use. There are times where we won't say anything, but the anger is there. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes where I just want you to close your eyes and think about what is a possible trigger for you. And then we're going to go into the practice. So I want you to think about, what is it right now that's been irritating me? That either I've verbally said it, or yin anger, quiet anger, and just kind of absorbed it in my body. So I'm just going to stay quiet for 2 minutes. So think about what you would like to focus this practice on. And if you want, you can put it in the chat if you want to share. If you want to keep it quiet, that's fine. But choose something that you can really relate to, and something that has a charge in your heart. Okay? So just being quiet for 2 minutes. Okay, did everybody choose your aspect of anger? Kim, you just came on, so just pick, we're just about to get to the practice stage. So just choose a topic right now that is causing some frustration, anger, any uncomfortable charge you have, and then we're going to go into the practice. So Susie wrote, to transform my children, doing a greater share of housework without the situation going into a conflict. Okay, that's very good. Now, one of the interesting things about the type of work we do, because we work on a Shen level, we work on an information level. The beauty of it is that we are not just working on the end, the manifestation. We are actually working. Let me show you here. Okay. So we are, instead of just working on the Jing, the manifestation of the anger. So Susie wrote not to get in a conflict with her kids so they do their greater share of the housework, which is a very normal. It's a normal everyday situation. I have to admit, like, not that I'm at my parents' house visiting them, even them, even they say, can you do more housework? Can I do the dishes more? This and that. And which is, it doesn't come out until conflict. And I say, okay, fine, I'll just do it. But I understand Susie's issue with her kids because same thing with my sister and her kids, same thing with me being a kid and my parents. So same thing. That is actually a manifestation when you get into the conflict. And what we are doing is we're pulling the string all the way to the cause. So we have that manifestation, the situation. So the situation that you're in, or the observation, the event, is still a manifestation. It's still on the Jing level. It's still the Jing level. So it doesn't have to be a disease. It doesn't have to be a verbal argument, fighting, hitting, harming, conflict. It doesn't have to be just this on the Jing level. The Jing level means even just having it in your experience, seeing two other people get into it. Even if you're not part of that argument, because you're in that field, you still feel it. Because you're in that field, you have a resonance with it, which means everything that manifests again on a Jing level, it came from a Shen level. So what we're going to be doing just now, and welcome Lavina, is working on the Shen level. We are going to be working on the information of the triggers. And then the heart level, which will be the emotions, mind level, the mental thoughts that come. Naoki said, I feel upset when someone close doesn't understand my situation and try to change me. And Naoki, that also is something that I think at this point, almost every human being has felt misunderstood at one point or another. And this is the irony of the journey that we are on. The people who tend to misunderstand us the most are usually the ones that are closest to us. Because that's the way this whole structure has been set up, to dig out our triggers, to dig out our Shen, there are negative information. So we notice it on an information level, matter level. So we're having that experience of feeling misunderstood. But because we're having that experience, we know that we have some information that is not cohesive, that's not coherent, that's not in harmony. And then we can transform it. So anything that manifests on a physical and even emotional, mental level, it's always rooted in the information. It's always rooted in the Shen level. If you have a physical manifestation of a disease, then that is one that we will also address, and that we address on a Shen level as well. Earlier, when you were speaking on how is guilt related to anger, it is usually a defense mechanism. So a lot of the times when little kids or adults even, when they know they've done something wrong, they're extra on the defensive, because they feel guilty, they feel wrong, and they do not want to face it. But everything, even guilt, it's anger, ego, sadness, it's all connected. Because right now, if you see the cycle of anger, see, first we had the trigger, then we had the escalation, which means the momentum, the information started building up. The crisis stage, which is the jing, it manifested. And then there's a recovery because we expended so much information on the crisis stage, and a depression. So why would depression, sadness, guilt be associated with anger? Because the anger in this case started in the triggering stage. And the triggering stage started from the information stage that we are in, that we have within us. And the most effective way is to change, transform the information. So that's why this program is like 8 weeks and we really go in depth. And that's why even in this program, I included Akashic soul readings, because when we have a soul reading into why are we so angry with this specific person, or why are we so angry at the situation, or why do I have a cholesterol issue, why do I have a liver issue, why are my nails breaking, why do I have an eye issue, any of those associated with the wood element, when one is off balance, it will imbalance the other ones once the information reaches that stimulation stage. So they all feed into each other. And that's why we really have to work on the base level, the root level of the information. So does everyone have the topic that they want to work on for this practice that we will be doing? Okay. Stop sharing. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into, so Lavina, and Lavina, if you want to share, you can put it in the chat as well. So with this topic that you picked, just feel in your body and decide between 1 to 10, 10 being very intense, how intense is it for you? How much does it irritate you? How much does it bother you? How much does this really affect you? And then we're going to go into the meditation. And we're going to do this work. So we're going to do inner work. There are treasures available, which is great. There's going to be dial calligraphy tracing as well. But the way that I like to use it in the program that I've created is that the tools are there to help you figure out, okay, what is the message for me? What is the anger telling me? So that's what I want you to focus on, because I can do it for you, but the way I like to structure it is that you are doing it for yourself, because even after these 4 weeks on working on this program, that doesn't mean after 4 weeks, that's it, you're done. But if a trigger happens, you know what to do. And the most important thing is that you are able to keep the good virtue, the good effort, all the service you're doing, like Susie serving your family, then you're not blowing it away by getting upset because the kids aren't doing their part. Or Naiko, like because someone else is misunderstanding you and trying to change you, your yin anger, you're keeping it inside and then it manifesting in another way. We don't want that, because each time we're angry, we lower our frequency. And that slowly eats up all the good effort that we've been doing. So this is very important to really make sure that we keep our virtue. So everyone, go ahead, sit up nice and tall. I'm going to put on some music. And the music that I chose is The Greatest Compassion. Because when we are angry, we are suffering. Our soul is suffering when we are angry, when we're frustrated. Our own soul is bothered. So it's very important. Step number 1 in this program, as soon as you get angry, the first thing I want you to think about is I have to have compassion even for myself. So sit up nice and tall. I'm going to start the music. And basically, we're going to start with the forgiveness practice. And we want to turn on all our treasures. We want to turn on our Tao hands. So, dear all my treasures, dear my Tao hands, please turn on. Dear all my spiritual fathers and mothers of all my lifetimes, please come and please support this practice. Dear Tao, Source, Divine God, all layers of saints, Buddhas, Lamas, Kahunas, the sun, the moon, Mother Earth, all light beings, archangels, angels, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, whoever you have an affinity to, go ahead and name them now. I love you, I honor you, I appreciate you. Please come and help me transform this issue. Now name the issue. As Susie would say, please help me communicate with my children so they understand to please do their housework and how much I would appreciate it. Or please forgive me for Naiko anytime I misunderstood someone else. I didn't listen to them. Or with Lavina, anytime I get irritated. Please forgive me and my ancestors for any time we have made you angry, irritated, frustrated, misunderstood, unloved, sad, guilty. Please forgive me for all lifetimes where I have hurt or harmed you, where my ancestors have hurt or harmed you in any way. And all the souls that have hurt or harmed us in any way, we unconditionally forgive you on behalf of my ancestors of all my lifetimes. I ask and offer their forgiveness. Please, you owe us nothing. Your debt to us is paid. You owe us nothing. Please continue just to forgive others as we have forgiven you. So we have to forgive all the people that have irritated, made us angry, made us feel unjust as well. It goes both ways, to offer, to give, and to receive. Sometimes we are the ones who are not forgiving and letting go. But continue to take nice deep breaths and focus on that specific trigger or that issue that has been bothering you so far. And you can bring in the souls of the people, or if you have a health condition, you can bring that in as well. Dear the soul of my issue of high cholesterol or liver problems or eye issues, my nails, whatever it is, you can go ahead and bring that in, name it. Now we send it love and we send it compassion and forgiveness, and we forgive ourselves. So continue to take nice deep breaths, and we will continue to just send them love, send them light, send them forgiveness. And most of all, we give ourselves compassion.
Great is compassion. Great is compassion. Great compassion, increase willpower, serve humanity, serve all souls, gain unlimited virtue, gain unlimited virtue, gain unlimited virtue. Great is compassion, great is compassion, great is compassion, increase willpower, serve humanity, serve all souls, gain unlimited virtue, gain unlimited virtue, gain unlimited virtue. Great is compassion, great is compassion, great is compassion, increase willpower, serve humanity, serve all souls, gain unlimited virtue, gain unlimited virtue, gain unlimited virtue. Yo ya yo ya yo, 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 yo ya yo, yo ya yo, yo ya yo ya yo, yo ya yo ya yo, yo ya yo ya yo. Yo ya yo ya yo, yo ya yo ya yo, yo ya yo ya yo, yo ya yo ya yo. 慈悲，大慈悲，大慈悲，愿力增强，福众生，福万灵，功德无量，功德无量，功德无量。大慈悲，大慈悲，大慈悲，愿力增强，福众生，福万灵，功德无量，功德无量，功德无量。大慈悲，大慈悲，大慈悲，愿力增强，福众生，福万灵，功德无量，功德无量，功德无量。
Okay, so slowly take a few deep breaths. And just integrate the light, the music, the sounds, the vibration. Just focus it in the silence into your lower abdomen. Take 2 more nice deep breaths, focusing the vibrations of the song, the message of compassion, and just focus it. Gather all that pure positive energy, information into your lower abdomen. And take 1 last deep breath, focusing that message of the greatest compassion with the pure positive information, energy, and matter to your lower abdomen. And whenever you are ready, we can just take a few moments and say thank you to our Tao hands, our treasures, our spiritual fathers and mothers who came, all the saints, angels, archangels, lamas, gurus, kahunas, buddhas, bodhisattvas, everyone who came to support this practice. We thank you. All the souls that we have hurt or harmed, that our ancestors of all our lifetimes have hurt or harmed, our descendants, anytime we were connected with the information leading to anger, physical manifestation of any disease, of any hurt or harm, we thank the souls who forgave us. We thank our ancestors for allowing us on their behalf to ask and offer forgiveness. And we thank our own souls for bringing us here, for communicating to us that this is an issue that lurks below the surface for many. And we thank our souls for bringing us here so we may eradicate as much information related to this condition, this imbalanced emotion that manifests in different ways, so we may live a life full of love, peace, and harmony. And with gratitude, humility, and sincerity in our hearts, we ask the souls to respectfully return. Gong song, gong song, gong song. And open your eyes, move your body, and if you would like to share, how were you feeling if you graded the issue, the topic that you were working on from 1 to 10, and just compare it to how do you feel now? What is the difference? Because one of the secrets about anger, or the different manifestations of anger, is that when we feel angry at whatever seemingly external situation, it's actually us who are suffering the most. When we feel this uncomfortable emotion, it's actually us who are suffering. And that's the biggest secret. And that's why it's very, very important to continue to work on this emotion, to understand the triggers, to understand what to do, the continued practice, so we may one day, hopefully never experience this emotion again. The bigger thing is that because we are a collective consciousness in humanity, it is one of those things where the more we work on ourselves, the more we will see it in our external environment as well. So our external environment will manifest what we have in us, what information we have in us. And when we transform that information into patience, then we will see it externally affecting the collective beyond our families as well. So that's the beautiful work that all of us do. So Susie said, more optimistic that we can transform our living situation. Thank you. So Susie, you can continue to work on this for the next 4 weeks. And you can call in your children's souls so they'll be with you, communicate, and also do forgiveness practice for any times maybe someone needed your help and you weren't available for them. So all these really have deeper layers. Everything that we see externally, again, is just a projection of what information we have inside. And once we change what we have inside, automatically the projection, the external will change. And especially if you're on this path where you're waking up and not much of humanity is, then you're doing even a bigger service to all of humanity on Mother Earth, because you're seeding the planet with the information, with the message of patience, of love, harmony, of peace, of all the beautiful emotions that we want to feel. So if anyone else wants to share, please feel free. So Naoki or Lavina, if you want to share, please share. And I'll just, for the ones who aren't already part of the program, I'll just quickly go into some of the details. So for this program for transforming anger, basically what I received for this program, um, what would be the best structure for the people to really have the lasting change, not just temporary, but lasting and something that empowers your soul to continue with the practices. It will still be relevant. And really, it's a 4-week program, 4 weeks, 2 classes, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we'll have Tao calligraphy tracing. We'll also have 4 classes of discovering your triggers and information, as in we're really going to go deep into the specific trigger that is your biggest issue. We will also be working on repairing relationships and finances. So, like I earlier said, the closest people to us seem to be the one who can push our buttons the most. That is a symptom of needing repairing relationships. So there's information that causes the triggers between you and a sister, brother, kid, child, father, whoever is that one person that really knows how to push your buttons. We'll be doing soul readings. There'll be guidance, like just now for Susie, because she was the first one to volunteer. She got the guidance that include your children. Each time we're doing these practices, call in their souls and start from a soul, start from an information level, and just leaving the physical for now and just really focusing all your energy on the soul. And then slowly it'll come to your emotions, your energy, and more. You'll have options to get packages for healing and preventing anger or any emotion. And the official start is July, which is next week. So basically, sometimes anger will be the outer emotion that we identify with. Sometimes there's a deeper emotion like guilt, fear, humiliation, ego, self-love issues, lack of self-compassion, things like that. Um, so we will be going deeper into really what is that one piece of information that has gotten so entangled in our emotional body and slowly untying it. And for that, sometimes we need Akashic soul readings and some soul readings, which is sometimes if you have just that one person in your life, no matter what you do, still you just don't get along, you don't like them, they don't like you. So for situations like that, or if you have a health condition, chronic health condition, or even acute, depending how long, to really go deep. And sometimes that needs a soul reading because that information will help you go deeper into your forgiveness practice and get the result that you need. Sometimes the souls that are holding it against us, they just don't want the forgiveness and they want you to know what you've done. And then they'll let go. So depending on your situation, that's offered as well. So Levina said peaceful. Goretti said, I have made a decision in my life and this session has enhanced my feelings over it. I hope in a good way. Yes, good. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lavina. So if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, we will go ahead and end this session. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for taking your time. And if there's any questions, please let me know. I know Susie and Goretti are already part of the program for the next 4 weeks. And if anyone else needs to know any information, please let me know. So thank you, Karen. Lavina just left, and thank you, everybody. Okay.
Thank you, Heena. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Bye.